On a night that you needed a victory, your lead guard, Lamont Butler, stepped up.
You are Locked On Kentucky, your daily podcast on the Kentucky Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, what's going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome on into Locked On Kentucky, your daily Kentucky Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Lance Dawe, and on today's episode of Locked On Kentucky, we are going to be recapping Kentucky basketball's 93-85 victory over the Louisville Cardinals. This was a very high-octane back-and-forth affair. Kentucky led essentially the entire way, and ladies and gentlemen, what and a performance from your lead guard, Lamont Butler, proving to everybody why he was such a valuable pickup out of the transfer portal. Thank you guys so much for making Locked On Kentucky your first listen every single day. Want to remind everybody out there that we are free and available on all platforms. And if you are watching on YouTube, I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to the show. And if you're listening on podcast, I would also appreciate it if you subscribed there as well. Hey, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. You can download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. I don't think there's a better place to start in this contest than Lamont freaking Butler. I did not think that he was going to play in this game. Mark Pope said essentially as much. He said, I'd like to have him back, but I don't know if we're going to be able to get him back in time. And sure enough, Butler does start, and you expected Butler to contribute, right? And you know how good of a defender he is. In this game, if I had told you that Lamont Butler was going to go 10 of 10 from the floor, 6 of 6 from 3, to go along with 6 assists and 3 rebounds, totaling him up with 7 free throws to 33 points. 33 points. Would you have believed it? If I had told you that was going to happen, you would have thought this would have been a blowout. This game would have been Jover. It would have been an absolute massacre. I did not think Lamont Butler at any point this season had a 33-point, 10 of 10 shooting performance in him, but I think it's very clear. While he is an excellent on-ball player, he thrives off the ball. And this time, tonight, the shots were falling. Yes, sometimes the shots will not fall for Butler in this off-ball role, but he played so well. You cannot tab him individually as a point guard or a shooting guard. Tonight proved that he is just a lead dog guard. 33 points. And we had talked about this entire offseason about how Kentucky's got so many different guys that could go off on a given night. And I understand that balance is such a big thing for this Kentucky team, but you've still got different guys that could just pop off. And Butler, I did not think he was one. I thought he was going to be somebody that really thrived defensively for Kentucky and would kind of maintain that consistency, probably get some physical finishes at the rim throughout the course of the season. But 6 of 6 from 3. Ladies and gentlemen, Kentucky basketball's 2 best three-point shooters right now are Kobe Brea at 53.1%, which is 17th nationally. And Lamont, after going 6 of 6, is up to 48.1%, 62nd nationally. If you had asked me in the offseason to kind of like order everybody's three-point percentage of who I thought was going to be the best, Butler would not have been one of the top 2. Maybe he wouldn't have been one of the top 3. I would have said Robinson's got a chance. Oweh was efficient. Carr's pretty good. You know, you could also see Kirk Carissa up there as well. Ainsley Almanor shot well for beyond the arc at FDU. Like, there are so many different other guys that I would have put above Butler, having seen how he plays. 6 of 6 from 3. Give it up to him, man. You have cemented your legacy in the Kentucky-Louisville rivalry tonight, Lamont Butler. Have yourself an evening. This was such a fun game. I absolutely love this one. I know it was back and forth. I know Kentucky's defense didn't play well, which, by the way, we'll just go ahead and say Kentucky's adjusted defensive efficiency dropped from 29th on KenPom after this game to 44th. And it's pretty clear the reason why. Kentucky just doesn't create a ton of turnovers, and tonight Louisville was able to hit a bunch of shots, not necessarily at an efficient rate, but they were still able to hit shots nonetheless, and their statistics outside of turnovers are really good. They're still top 30 nationally in effective field goal percentage. They prevent offensive rebounds. Again, top 30 in the country there. They don't put teams on the foul line. 15th there. 18th in three-point percentage. It's 88th in two-point percentage, which is still pretty dang solid. 43rd in block percentage. Everything that they do is so much better than it was a season ago. And their offense up to 8th nationally now with an improvement in terms of three-point shooting percentage, which Kentucky, by the way, I had to continue checking this game, taking a look at the stats. There were large stretches of this game where Kentucky was shooting over 60% from three. Listen, I know that we got through a lot of last year's schedule, essentially saying we can outscore you on every given night. I think this team can. I would like to see less of the 85-point opponent performances, but hey, when you get nights like this and you get games like this from Lamont freaking Butler, you'll love to see it. What a game. I absolutely love this one. We'll dive into it in a little bit further detail here in just a second. Before I do that, though, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Game Time. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were not at this game, what a shame. What a shame. What an atmosphere in Rupp Arena. And if you want to be able to go to any game in the future here with the Kentucky Wildcats, whether that be a neutral site against Ohio State next weekend, you want to go see them play Brown, you want to see the SEC opener against Florida, who is currently ranked in the top 10, and if I'm not mistaken, still undefeated after defeating Arizona State here at a neutral site, 10-0 are the Florida Gators. If you want to get tickets to go see the Kentucky Wildcats take on the Florida Gators, you need to go over to Game Time. It's the only place that you need to go to get any tickets in your area, and it's not just for sporting events. It's for concerts, shows, theater, anything near you. I've used them for concerts. I've used them for college football, college basketball, and they have a new feature Game Time does called Game Time Picks, which filters out the fluff, shows you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. All-in pricing, views from your seat, lowest price guarantee as well. You can take the guesswork out of buying your tickets with Game Time by downloading the Game Time app, creating an account, and using code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, continuing along here on the Saturday evening edition of Locked On Kentucky. Lance Dawe hanging out here with you. Really appreciate you guys checking out the show tonight. Hey, if you have not subscribed on the YouTube channel or the podcast feed, wherever you are tuned in, I would greatly appreciate it if you did so. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have any comments about this game, if you have any thoughts about what went down, if you have any thoughts about how the things went down with Garrison on the Louisville bench, if you thought about how the defense performed, if you thought about how the offense played, you can leave all of it in the YouTube comments below. Okay, so we've talked about Lamont Butler individually. Let's talk about this Kentucky offense as a whole. So the Louisville defense was the thing that was kind of carrying them heading into this one, at least in my mind. I'm like, okay, you see what they want to do on paper offensively. They just haven't been able to do it quite yet. Defensively, though, they've got a lot of different solid pieces. Kentucky shredded them. They absolutely annihilated Pat Kelsey's defense. Yes, they had 11 turnovers. Yes, they were careless with the ball at times. But overall, Kentucky just shot the lights out of it. I told you guys. At some point, Kentucky was going to get out of their shooting slump. They were going to have some good games, plural, in a row, where they shot well. In this game tonight, Kentucky finished 11 of 21 from beyond the arc. That is a cool 52%. You love to see it. You love to see it. Essentially, the only people that took threes tonight were Jaxson Robinson, who finished an efficient 40%, 2 of 5. Kobe Brea was 2 of 7 from beyond the arc, rushed a couple of threes, but hit a couple of big ones too. Really nice step back there in the second half. Way over a defender. Solid three-point shooting performance. And the thing about Kentucky, and obviously this plays into what I'm about to say, I didn't mean it to. But the thing about Kentucky is that they can finish so well at the rim. Kentucky's shooting 58.7% from 2 so far this season. Tonight, they shot 58% from the floor, so that just tells you what they were doing inside the arc. Destroying them. Andrew Carr had a great game. Otega Oweh had a great game inside the arc. Kobe Brea hit a couple of tough layups. Really nice cut from Brea as well. Brea played well tonight. I think he played well. This Mark Pope offense has been so fun to watch. And the thing that gets me, and I may go on a little bit of a tangent here, the thing that gets me about what the previous regime did and what this current regime is doing is the whole shtick was that we'll put you in the NBA. And whenever he left, the whole complaint was, how is Kentucky going to put guys in the NBA? How are they going to prove that they can go out and get the best talent now? This is an NBA offense. This is an NBA system. This is how they like to do things. They like to spread out. They like to play 5-out offense, and they like to shoot threes. Kentucky does that, and they do it well. There is no reason why any recruit would watch this game, specifically in the state of Kentucky. There is no reason why any recruit would watch this game and say, I'd rather go play for Kelsey. I'd rather go play for Louisville. No reason whatsoever. This is a better atmosphere. There are better resources. We're a better program. And we have a fun offense. We have a fun team. This is the place that you should want to be. 58% from the floor, 52% from 3. You didn't shoot well from the foul line. It's okay. You drew fouls. You got 28 foul line shots in this one. Obviously, with the free throws late, it kind of expanded that number. Gracious. Goodness gracious, Kentucky. I mean, I'm so impressed. And look, that 44th nationally in adjusted defensive efficiency, Kentucky will find ways to get that back, all right? They'll find ways to climb back into that. With the way that Ohio State just played against Auburn, which, in case you didn't see it, lost by 38, scoring 53 points. Yikes. Kentucky should have the opportunity to kind of do some things well defensively in that game. I'd expect it. An impressive performance. Such an impressive performance. I do want to note here, before we get to some of the other impressive Kentucky moments, I said heading into this game, I didn't think Kentucky was going to cover. I was right on that. I thought that the final score I gave was 79-74. So much for that, right? But what I continued to harp on in the preview episode was like Louisville, and I do want to give Kelsey and Louisville credit here. It's very clear that he has a plan and they're trying to implement it offensively. They have potential. They just up until today, they hadn't put it all together. What Pat Kelsey likes to be is a three-point shooting team. They like to take threes. And they hadn't really been able to do that a ton this year, or at least at the very least, they didn't have the ability to be efficient in that. In this game, they shot 35.9%, which is not phenomenal. It's okay, but it's not phenomenal. But they made 14 threes. 39 of their 70 shot attempts, which, by the way, Kentucky only had 55 shot attempts in this game, compared to Louisville's 70. Isn't that insane? But 39 of their 70 shot attempts were from beyond the arc, again making 14 threes to Kentucky's 11. So weird. So weird. Kentucky missed 10 free throws in this game. Louisville hit 3 more threes. Butler had a perfect game. Chucky Hepburn went off. He had 26 points, 9 of 18, 4 of 11 from 3. Terrence Edwards Jr., he was the matchup issue for me. He had 23 points, 5 of 7 from 3. He's been shooting underneath 30% all year long, and he just hit shots in this one. You could make the case, and I think Tristan Ferris said this on Twitter, you could make the case that either of these teams could have won tonight, meaning Louisville could have won close. There's a world where that happened. Or Kentucky could have won by 25, I think is what Ferris said. And that is so accurate. Kentucky could have won this game by more. And that's why I'm so excited tonight, is I know that Kentucky can play better than this defensively. And sometimes their opponents just won't hit shots like they did tonight. And it wasn't like everything was wide open. They were just hitting stuff, man. They were playing well. Louisville clearly has a plan. They're just developing. They're working on it. This would be such a fun matchup in the tournament. I'm not asking for it, but I do think it would be fun. I absolutely think this would be a blast if these two teams met again. Another win for Kentucky. Another win over another win for Big Brother, I should say. Kentucky dropped to 11th on KenPom in this one. They are a hair behind Kansas, who is number 10. Kentucky, again, I think they'll get that back unless UConn beats Gonzaga tonight. Gonzaga, whatever you want to call it, Zags fans. Big win. Big win for Kentucky. Let's look at some of the other performances here tonight. I think that Jaxson Robinson played a good game. Overall, he actually finished highest on the team in box plus minus. 12 points, 2 of 5 from 3. He had 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals in this one. Again, the 4 turnovers a problem, but 12, 8, 2, and 2. We'll take that. Defensively, you needed him to step up. You needed guys to step up against Louisville's wings, plural, not just Terrence Edwards. Obviously, some guys struggled more than others. Brea had some inconsistencies. Oweh actually finished -1 in plus minus, which tied for lowest on the team. I mean, sometimes Kentucky just got caught around the rim with these different Louisville guards and wings, and Louisville was just able to finish. They drew some fouls on Kentucky as well. They drew 18 in this contest. Still, Kentucky fought through it. They played well. I needed Amari Williams to have a good game, and he definitely did, in my opinion. 6 points on 2 of 4 shooting. 2 of 4 from the foul line, but he had 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and no turnovers. That is what I am most proud of. 4 assists, no turnovers. You've seen this guy struggle this year. Struggle. Good stuff tonight. Andrew Carr, 10 points, 4 of 7 shooting. He also had 9 rebounds. So close, several Kentucky Wildcats were to a double-double tonight. None of them got there. But Andrew Carr, 9 rebounds, 10 points, 4 assists, no turnovers for him as well. He also added 2 blocks and a steal. Your front court is doing work. They may not be in the scoring column that much, but they're grabbing boards, they're playing defense, and they are distributing the ball at an insanely efficient level without turning it over for Carr and then Garrison, who Garrison had 3 turnovers tonight. You normally expect Amari to be the one that's making those mistakes. But, man, the passing in this unit is so good. It's really, really good. Otega Oweh, we haven't even talked about him. He dropped 17 points, by the way, 7 of 11 from the floor. That 1-3 at the end of the game, night cards. 3 assists, 1 rebound, no turnovers, 2 steals in 27 minutes of play. Good stuff. Just good stuff. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different cats in double figures. Amari was the only one that didn't get there. Amari and Garrison were the only 2 that didn't get there. Everybody else, though, went insane. And, dude, Lamont freaking Butler, again, man. He's just that dude. He is just simply that guy. So that's going to do it for tonight's episode of Locked On Kentucky. Let me know what you guys think about this game. Big time win for the Cats. Let's keep it moving. 10-1 on the season, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that's better than the 2017-18 season now, because that team actually lost to Louisville, if I'm not mistaken. But here we are now. That's going to do it for tonight's episode of Locked On Kentucky. You can follow the show on Twitter at Locked On UK. You can follow me on Twitter at LanceDawe_. And you can follow the show over on Instagram. That is at Kentucky Podcast. Oh, wrong hotkey. There we go. Any questions, comments, concerns, you can leave those in the YouTube comments below. You can hit me on the socials. I will see you all on Monday for another episode of Locked On Kentucky. Have a great rest of your day, and God bless. Woo.